Welcome back to JDW SportsTalkShow, and today's live stream we will be talking about Colts draft class, and then we'll be going through some of the left tackle prospects or some left tackle free agents that the Colts may be interested in signing after the draft. As we know, Chris Ballard didn't address the tackle position, and that was a little worrisome for some fans, and some fans were really going off the walls after the draft, and during the draft. A lot of Colts fans weren't really excited with the NFL draft this year, but I'm pumped, and I know there are a good amount out there that are really excited for this draft class, as I am. Yeah, we didn't address left tackle, but we really did address some other big needs. Offensive line depth, edge rush. We got a backup safety. We got depth. We got a lot, and I'm really excited for this draft class. We drafted a wide receiver, drafted a vertical threat tight end, which is what we needed. So, I'm really excited to see where this Colts team is going to head this next season, and how this draft class is really going to improve this Colts team. So now I want to get into some of the draft picks. I have a little layout here to help me go through the picks and just go through them. The first one I'm going to talk about Will Fries. The guy, he listed as a guard coming out of Penn State, but he reminds me of Joe Haeg. And he reminds me of Joe Haeg because he's a very versatile guard, a very versatile offensive lineman. He could play left tackle, he could play left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. He did it all at Penn State. And he played like 42 games, so he has good experience, and he's very durable. A really good late round draft pick, if you ask me. I'm really excited for him. He's gonna come in as a good depth, and he's gonna be competing with Danny Panther, Joey Hunt. Who are the other guys? Chris Reed we signed, I believe, was one we signed. There's gonna be more competition on the depth of the offensive line. Also Sam Tevy, Julian Davenport, all those guys are gonna have more competition, and it's gonna push each other to be even better. So maybe they can make the roster, and maybe even strive for a starting position somewhere in the offensive line, most likely left tackle. And then we're going to talk about Sam Ellenger, drafted by the Colts. This was a bit of a surprising pick for some people. No one really expected the Colts to go quarterback anywhere. Later on they draft Sam Ellenger, and last year they drafted Jacob Eason in the fourth. Because we didn't know where our quarterback situation was heading. At the time, we already had Philip Rivers signed, so we knew who was going to be the quarterback that year, but we had no certainty in the future. We had no certainty at all. But I'm really excited to see what this guy would bring to the table. He's going to really give some competition to Jacob Eason. Drafted last year, fell to the fourth round. Ballard picked him up because our future was uncertain. Draft a young guy, let him learn a year behind Phil. And now he's going to be competing with Sam Ellenger for the backup quarterback spot. I really don't think there's going to be a third quarterback in this roster. Maybe we're surprised, and there is. Jacob Eason really isn't an athletic quarterback. His arm is much better compared to Sam Ellenger. He has a much bigger arm, a much more stronger arm. But Sam Ellenger has some anticipation. He's a little more athletic. He get out of the pocket, maybe make some throws. He's not greatest on throwing the runs, but he could get some done. He could scramble once in a while. A guy that's really going to challenge Jacob Eason for that backup quarterback spot, because I really don't think Chris Ballard or Frank Reich are that high on Jacob Eason. Yeah, he's had a really good arm. He has some really solid traits that you look for. He has a good frame. He's tall. He's big. But Sam Ellenger is going to come in and compete for that backup, and Sam Ellenger, he has a decent arm. It's nothing crazy. It's probably below average, but his anticipation's pretty good. He get the job done for a backup. That's probably his ceiling right now. So yeah, I'm really excited to see him come in and really create some competition in that quarterback room. I really think Carson Wentz is going to be the one starting, so not really much talk there, because Carson Wentz is going to start unless bearing some injury. But yeah, I'm really excited for him to come in and compete with Jacob Eason. And he also has great character, which is what Ballard loves, and Will Fries also has that as well. Great character, and they love to play, and they love to work hard, and they love football. That's a Chris Ballard guy. and then you have, Mike Strawn, I think it's how you say him. He's a big wide receiver from Charleston. Um, solid receiver from where he played. He did transfer to a bigger college in Charleston, so he was at an even smaller school. But I believe he transferred up, and he dominated that competition, which is actually good to know because that competition really, those guys are a lot smaller. Those cornerbacks are a lot smaller, and I think this was a very solid. Maybe not a solid, but maybe a guy to come in and even make more competition in that receiving room. Kind of reminds me of an Alshon Jeffrey comparison. Maybe I'm not going to put him in big shoes like that, but especially for being in the 6th round. But I think he could come in, and maybe if he wins a roster spot, I don't know if he does because this wide receiver room is pretty crowded right now. A lot of young guys still learning, so bring in another young guy and push those guys that are already in the roster more and push that guy who you're drafting more and to compete with each other. That's what you want. And then you have Sean Davis, a guy from Florida who is a hard-hitting safety. I'm really excited to see him come in and, make a difference. He's a hard hitter and he really loves to play football. He's really a big lover for football, and you can see it when you turn on the tape. He's always coming down and he wants to make a tackle and he wants to, blow someone up. He wants to really level someone. That's what he loves to do, and he loves football. He is a little smaller, but, I think he's more of a strong safety, or maybe a guy that comes in once in a while more so, maybe a sub linebacker. He is a little small for that. He definitely is, but maybe how we were running that Tampa too. Maybe he'll be that middle linebacker once in a while, but that's probably Darius Leonard's spot. But you never know. You could put him back and forth, you put him anywhere. Really excited to see him come in and make a difference. And then you have Sean Davis. I'm not putting him in big shoes like what's his name? I'm not going to put him in big shoes like Bob Sanders' shoes, but you know what? When you watch him play and you turn the tape, that's who he reminds you of. He's a hard hitter, and that reminds you of Bob Sanders, and he loves playing. Just hoping that doesn't translate to injuries and such. So hoping it doesn't, but I'm excited to see Sean Davis come in and play. And then you have Kyle Granson. You got the tight end from SMU. He's a vertical threat tight end. A little smaller for tight ends at 6'1", but I think he's gonna come in and make a difference in the tight end group. He's a guy that can be, he's fast and he has a great run after the catch ability, and kind of reminds me of Trey Burton, but a little more athletic and better separation. He does. Some people were saying they weren't excited about his hands, which his hands were problems. It was a problem, but ever since that Vanderbilt game when he had 3 or 4 big bad drops, he really fixed it up and he's gotten better with that over time. I'm excited to see him come in and, make a difference in that tight end group because we really don't have a tight end that's going to really, we don't really have a tight end that's going to, stretch the field. Mo Alley Cox, he's a big guy, huge hands, he's going to go up and make those big contested catches, but he's not the guy that's really going to, be vertical and make the offense worry that he's going to beat them deep because he's not that guy. And then you have Jack Doyle, who's the jack of all trades. He's a very solid tight end. He does everything really well, but he doesn't do anything great. He's a very solid blocker, very solid route runner. He's a very good. He's actually a really good catcher. He is actually really good with catching. Excited to see him come in. There's a lot of guys in this draft class that I'm excited about. I'm excited for all of them, and I'm excited to see them come in and compete for a starting job or maybe a backup role or anything. Who else? We do have Doyle. This is actually my favorite pick in the draft. Doyle Ellenger, 6'5", 285. He has 99% quartile in his arm length. I'm so excited to see him come in and really make a difference. He's not going to come in right away because he had the Achilles tear, but the Achilles tear does kind of scare you away a little bit. That's why he dropped. He was a first round talent and he dropped to the 2nd round, and the dude's huge and the dude has first round talent. He just dropped because of that injury, but with the advancements that they have made in the medical field and the medical and all that stuff, I'm not really seeing that as much as a concern. You just got to stay patient, wait for him to come on the field. He kind of reminds me of a Julian Blackmon situation. we're drafting him hurt. He's a first-round talent. He drops to the third, and we draft Julian Blackmon, and he's able to come in day one and make a big impact. Malik goes down, he comes in and he makes a big impact. And then you have, the only thing that kind of sucks about Doyle is that he's not going to be able to come in, right away day one if someone does get hurt, because he just can't because of the Achilles tear. But I'm excited to see him come in and make a big difference. I'm really excited for him. And then you have Kwity Paye. You have the guy in Kwity Paye who is out of Michigan. I'm excited to see him come in and play. He kind of reminds me of a Jabal Sheard. He's going to come in with amazing run-stopping ability. He definitely has to work on his pass rush, though. That's something he really needs to work on. But, I'm really excited to see him come in and make a difference on the edge rush, because we really need that on the edge. We need some kind of presence on the edge. And, Kwity Paye will bring that in the run game for sure, but he definitely has some work to do. As everyone in the league has work to do. From Trevor Lawrence to Sam Ellenger to Will Fries, they all have work to do. No matter who you are coming into the league, you always have work. Always. You're not just gonna come in and be perfect. It's just not how the NFL rolls. You have to come in and you have to work and you have to learn and you have to work hard. It's not just coming in and playing when you need to. You have to want to love the game and want to play it, and that's what Kwity Paye is. That's what this whole draft class is. They're high character guys that love to play, and they'll play hard every single down. And Kwity Paye will play very hard every single down. And I'm really excited to see him come in and make the difference. Like I said, he really reminds me of a Jabal Sheard with much more upside as a pass rusher. The first year, don't expect him to do all this crazy stuff, because he's not going to be crazy as a pass rusher anyways. I really don't think he's going to be. But if he does and he's surprised, I'm going to be really happy about it. It's going to be really exciting. But the fact is, you got to give these guys time as well. The NFL is becoming a place where people are really, really, really losing patience really fast. And as you see, some players leave teams on the rookie deal, like the teams don't re-sign them, or they just let them go, and then they go somewhere else and they ball out because that team wasn't patient, so they lost a star. There's many guys out there like that, and Colts guy like Rocky Sin, he's played terrible his first few years, pretty bad, but he's had some really bright moments. The time where he picked out Aaron Rodgers, and he had a lot of other bright moments, but he's also had those really bad and dark moments and down moments, and that's going to happen. Especially a cornerback. It's one of the harder positions to come in and play, to come in and learn. That's what everyone, though. All of the positions are very difficult to learn. But I'm really excited to see him come in and make a difference. I'm really hoping Rocky Sin does make a jump. He needs to make a jump. If he wants to stay in this team, if he wants a chance, he's going to have to make a jump. If he doesn't make much improvements in 4 years, then yeah, okay. But because, you've seen the flashes, but you can't be scared to get better at the same time. It's one of the hard things to learn in the NFL. You have to learn. You have to get better, but you have to be patient. You can't be scared to get better, but you have to be patient with your young guys. If you draft a guy high like Rocky Sin, you have to be patient. Obviously the higher they're drafted, the more NFL ready they expect them to be. Number 1 overall, number 2 overall, or at least top 10, top 15, top 20 picks. They're expected to come right in and play. They're not expected to sit on. You don't draft a guy top 10 to go and sit on the bench for 1 or 2 years. You draft them to come in now and to make an immediate impact. And there's a lot of pressure on those guys because they have to come in, make an immediate impact because the spotlight's on them. And if they don't, it's going to be a big conversation. It's going to be a big debate. They're going to say, oh, they're busts. They're busts. 3 weeks in the regular season. That's how the NFL is this year. It has been. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get more impatient. People are impatient. They want you to come in and play right away and make a big difference right away. And it's just not realistic. Some of these guys are going to take a while to develop. Kwity Paye, that brings me back to Kwity Paye. It's going to take him a little while to develop probably. That's the same with a lot of these guys. They're going to take a while. You can't expect them coming day one and get 10, 15 sacks. It's unrealistic. That doesn't happen. You got to give them time to learn. You got to give them a lot of playing time, and then that's how they learn. That's how they learn. So, Kwity Paye is going to come in and he's going to be a fantastic run stopper. But a but but a pass rusher, he is going to struggle to start, and people are going to realize that, and people are going to look at that and be like, "Oh, he's a bust. He's a bust." Probably like halfway through the season, he's probably going to have 2.5, 3 sacks to be. That's where I see him going halfway through the season. I'm not going to expect him to get 10 sacks. He's probably going to get 3, 2.5, maybe 4 halfway through the season. And that's a win for me because if you look at him, he's coming in struggling with pass rushing. He's not the greatest of pass rushers, but he has the upside and he has that twitchiness. For sake, he had the second fastest cone drill of all time. That was insane, and that's for a defensive lineman. It just shows how athletic he is and how big he is. And you got to give guys like that a chance to develop and then make an impact on your team. You can't just expect them to come right in and make that big impact. It's just not realistic. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens with a guy like Andrew Luck. He came right in and he made the Colts a better team. That's the dream scenario. And only for the Colts not to protect him and him to retire a few years later. 7 years later, because the Colts didn't protect him. But and then like Quentin Nelson, Darius Leonard, they came in right away and they made big impacts. It's not realistic. It's not. You have to give the players a chance. Jonathan Taylor came right in and made it. Jonathan Taylor's a great example. He started off really slow. The first game he started, he had a 100-yard game. He always fell forward, and he had a pretty decent game, but he did run a lot. His yards per carry were quite low, but he really showed the improvement, and he really showed that he wanted to get better, and he got better. It took him a half a season, but he got better, and he became who we wanted him to become. You have to give them time. And Braden Smith, when he first started at right tackle, he really wasn't that great. He was getting beat a bit. So you gotta give them time. Unless you really are like a top 10 pick, the teams are gonna expect you to come in, and they think you're really that NFL ready. So, like I said, just how the NFL goes. Like I said, Kwity Paye is a Jabal Sheard, but much more upside in passing and the run game. He could play both. He could play great with both. I could really see Kwity Paye getting 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 sacks. I really see him getting 5 sacks. That's my prediction. He's probably gonna have a lot of tackle for losses though, probably over 10. That's for sure. He's gonna be really good in the run game, but he's gonna struggle in the pass game to start probably. Dream scenario, he doesn't, but no, I guess we'll see. And then you have, what a lot of people got mad about is that Chris Ballard didn't address the left tackle position. After the retirement of Anthony Costanzo, it's a big hole, and it's been a big hole since he has retired. It's scary not having a left tackle and then going to the draft, which was arguably one of the biggest needs heading into the draft. But yeah, he didn't draft one, so a lot of people were really getting on him about that. But there's no one really there that he believed in, that he thinks could come in and make a difference, that was worth the pick they were at. Yeah, Christian Darrisaw was there. I was kind of hoping they were going to get Darrisaw. I was actually mad at first. But, if you think about it a little bit, you have to trust the process, and you have to trust what Chris Ballard is going after. You have to trust it. You have to. And I'm really excited to... there's some free agent guys that we have to go after. I don't think Sam Tevy and Julian Davenport are guys that you want going in and them being the starters. You want something else. There's a few free agents, and Charles Leonard Jr. the Bears just released. There's Eric Fisher that the Chiefs released. There's one more, Alejandro Villanueva, that the Chiefs didn't resign. They're all guys that are, I think Charles Leno is actually would be a fantastic option for the Colts. I would really like Charles Leno Jr. because he's not that old. I think he's like 28, something like that, and he's a very solid pass blocker. He's a good run blocker. He's a really solid left tackle. So I would not mind taking him for maybe a 2 or 3 year deal, and I would not mind. But there are other guys in Russell Kung as well. He's on the free agent market. Maybe you sign him. There's a lot of places Chris Ballard could go. So don't be too quick to jump on it. There's still a chance that he's going to get a tackle that's going to, help us next season. You know, we got a good chance. We're going to be good next season. It's just the fact that we got to trust the process, and we got to be patient. Maybe these guys don't come in day one, and maybe they do struggle, but you know what? That's part of the process. That's part of the process. And that's all I really have. So, I guess we will wait for some fans to maybe come in. No fans yet, unfortunately, but that's what I got for now. So if some fans come in, I'll start talking and answering questions. But right now, it's not looking too hot. There's not many people in here right now. It's scheduled to stream, so I thought there would be more people, but no. Looking at the camera, looking amazing. Let's see if we got anything. Okay. Alright, so what else can we talk about? Okay, so now I guess we could talk about the linebackers and where we think the defense is at, actually. The defense, the defense has definitely gotten much better just during the draft. It was pretty good during the draft, or before the draft, but, the edge rusher was a big need that we really needed, and it was one of the needs, and it was the biggest need heading in. One of the two biggest needs, and left tackle and edge. And, we really addressed edge, with the two guys, Kwity Paye and Doyle. Excited for them to come in and really make that impact, but, Doyle will not impact day one because, he is coming off the Achilles in late January, so it's probably going to take him until, like, October, November, midway through the season to really come in and play. And he's not going to be good right away. He's coming off an injury, and he's a rookie. So, got to be patient with him as well, but I'm excited to see him. And then you have the defensive tackles. What's that? And then you have the defensive tackles, and, you have DeForest Buckner. You have, there we go. There's someone finally. Thank you for coming in. I needed someone to ask me some questions because I got done talking about all the topics I thought I needed to talk about when no one was still here. But, hey, there you go. I thought that was a great draft. I thought so, too, and I'm really excited. Who was your favorite pick? Personally, my favorite pick was Doyle. Kwity was an awesome pick, too. I really like Kwity. He's going to come in, and he's going to be a really good player to start. He's going to be like a Jabal Sheard day one. He's going to be a really, really good run stopper, but he's going to have to work on pass rush. So I'm thinking, maybe 5-6 sacks for him. But yeah, I'm really excited for this draft class. And we got the guy in Sean Davis, who was a hard hitter. Really excited for him come in and make an impact. And he loves football, so that's a Chris Ballard guy. Really excited for the draft. Really excited for this season. Jeez. Okay, let's see who else we got, or what else we got here to talk about. Gotta have a few other things. I should have put more things to talk about because there's no one here. Well, there is someone here in Kristen. I don't know if he's still here or not, but I gotta figure something out. I gotta figure out why my camera doesn't work on my, camera app. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but let's see. I'll mess with the banners while I'm waiting for someone, maybe. Oh, throw that ticker on the bottom. I'm not. So, yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about right now, so might be end of the stream early, because, okay, here we go. What grade would you give us in the draft? Ooh, it's a tough one. I'm really excited about the draft. We got the guy in Will Fry. He's very versatile. He reminds me of Joe Haig. He's going to bounce around and give some competition to everyone. He's going to be good depth to start. Maybe Chris Ballard has a plan to put him at tackle. You never really know, but I'm excited to see him come in and you make a difference in the depth, and then we have, the Sam Ellenger, really good pick to give East some competition. I'm excited for that. Then the Sean Davis pick, I'm really excited about the Sean Davis pick. The way he plays reminds me of Bob Sanders. I'm not going to say he's going to be like Bob Sanders or be as good as Bob Sanders, but, the way he plays, and the way he loves football so much and how hard he hits and, him coming down and making all those big tackles, he's going to come in and be like a Bob Sanders, Okay, I just said he's not going to be like Bob Sanders, but he reminds me of Bob Sanders. for how much he loves the game and the big hitter he is, And then you have the Kyle Granson pick. I really like that pick. He's going to come in and be a better version of Trey Burton. More athletic and can get better separation. And then you have, what else do you have? You have the guy in Doyle. He's coming in. He's going to be a solid pick. The monster, the freak, obviously not going to come in day one, but kind of reminds you of a Julian Blackmon situation. He just won't be able to come in right away and make an impact right away because of his injury. Julian Blackmon, when Malik got hurt, Julian Blackmon came in and he was able to come in day one or day two or week one, week two. He came in once in a while, and he made a difference. And then week three he really came in and really made some differences. But I think that he's gonna really be a monster once he gets healthy. I'm really excited for him. Dale was probably my favorite pick, and then you have Kwity Paye, of course, the first round pick. I was, at first, to be quite honest with you, I was mad. I was mad with the pick because Christian Darrisaw was there, but you have to think about it. If Christian Darrisaw was the guy, if he was the guy for left tackle, Ballard would have pulled the trigger and he would have gotten him. But I'm excited for Kwity Paye, and I really trust Ballard, and I'm really excited for Kwity Paye to come in. Like I said, I think he's gonna come in and be like a Jabal Sheard. Day one, he's gonna be a really good run stopper, and he's gonna be he's not gonna be the greatest of pass rushers, but he has much higher upside in pass rushing than Jabal Sheard did. Should we get Eric Fisher? I wouldn't mind. The Bears also just released their left tackle, and what was his name? Charles Leno Jr. I would definitely be down to sign him. I think he's 28. He's a little younger, and I think he's got, at this point in Charles Leno's career, I think he could be a little more than Eric Fisher. I think he can offer us more on the left side. He's a really, really good pass protection guy and a solid run protector. Solid run. I don't know where I'm at right now, but I think he would be a solid run blocker. That's what I was trying to get at. Run blocker. Really excited. Hopefully we get him. But I wouldn't mind Eric Fisher. I wouldn't, I think it's between Eric Fisher and Charles Leno. And there's another one. I don't remember his name though. Let me look at my thing real quick. There was Alejandro Villanueva. Some people were talking about, and Jason Peters. Some people were talking about. The Jason Peters connection with Frank Reich. But I wouldn't mind him. But he's definitely getting up there, and he has an injury problem. And then you have Alejandro Villanueva. He really fell off a cliff last year, and not too interested in him. Why did we draft a quarterback in the 6th round? I think we drafted Sam Ellenger to come in and give Jacob Eason some competition. I don't think Ballard and Frank are really that high in Eason. When they drafted him, he did have some character issues. Jacob Eason has a lot better arm and a lot stronger arm, but I don't know if he's a guy. Chris Ballard and Frank really don't like his character that much. I don't think they're thrilled with him if they're going to draft a quarterback late again. I'm not really, I'd really like Sam Ellenger to come in and just compete with Jacob Eason. I think that's the main sole reason, is to compete with him. Sam Ellenger? Yeah, Sam Ellenger. I hope we get Charles Leno. Yeah, me too. I think he could really make a difference on this offensive line. A guy in Eric Fisher, yeah, he'd be a solid pickup. But I think Charles Leno is actually the best option here. I think it's actually like a dream come true that the Bears kind of release him. It's kind of he just falling into Ballard's lap, but we don't know if he's a Ballard guy. We don't know if he has a character. We don't know if he has the traits that Ballard likes. So that's what we'll have to wait on and see how Ballard feels about him. Good thing we got some more defensive linemen. Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited with the ones we got too. We got the guy. Really excited. We got the of course, Kwity Paye, Dayo Adengbo. I know I'm not saying his name right, but I'm really excited for him. I also forgot to mention Mike Strawn earlier. When I was asked about the draft grade. Mike Strawn out of Charleston kind of reminds me of an Alshon Jeffrey. Big bodied. I'm not saying he's gonna be like him, but that's kind of the mold he reminds you of. And he dominated the small school he came from, so that's a good sign. So excited to see him. And yeah, we really did get some good defensive linemen. We got Deo, we got Kwity. Like I said, I think Quiddy's gonna come in and be more of like a Jabal Sheard day one. But that Jabal Sheard with much more pass rushing upside. maybe even better run stopper, which I can see. And then Doyle is just a monster, dude. Doyle is, man, the dude has a wingspan. His wingspan is in like the 99% quartile for how big his arms are, like his arm length. Dude is crazy. I'm excited to see what he has to bring to the table. You know, he's not gonna come in day one because of his Achilles tear. He's not gonna be able to till like October, November. But when he does come in, I think he's gonna make a difference, and he's gonna scare defenses because he's also very versatile. He can play defensive tackle. He can play edge rusher. He can do all that. So I'm really excited to see him come in and make a difference as well. We'll find a good lineman. Yeah, I think so. I trust Ballard. I trust Chris. Isabel French fries. What are you trying to say there, Michael? Will we get Zach Ertz? You know, I will not mind Zach Ertz, but I think when we drafted Kylan Granson, I think they kind of put the nail in the coffin for the rumors for Zach Ertz coming to the Colts. You know, maybe if the Eagles release him, we'll take him on a cheap deal, and then our tight end group would really have some competition in it. You know, Molly Cox, Jack Doyle. We'll have the new Kylan Granson, and then we'll have Zach Ertz, which would be a lot of competition, which is what Ballard loves. And then of course Zach Ertz has that connection with Frank Reich, and he loved that. So I'd be real. I really wouldn't mind if we get him on a cheap deal. But will he make the roster? You really don't know. Probably would, you know, of course, the Frank connection and everything, but, you know, maybe that's where that surprise Jack Doyle cut comes in, which I really don't want to see him go, but if we sign him, you know, maybe that surprise Jack Doyle cut really comes to fruition and it really comes to be a reality. It sucks. I love Jack Doyle. He's a great jack of all trades, but, you know, you can't be afraid to get better. And at the end of the day, that's what you have to do in football. I think we're going to do something special this season. Me too. Me too, man. Me too. I'm excited. Definitely. I'm so excited for this draft class. So excited. Is Will Fries left tackle? He could play at all. You know, he kind of reminds me of Joe Haeg coming out. I don't know if you remember Joe Haeg or not, but he was a really solid backup, and he was able to play everywhere. He was able to play left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. He could play everything. You know, I kind of see that role for Will Fries day one coming in. Will he be a starting left tackle? I don't know. I don't think so. You know, with guys like Santevi and Julian Davenport, I think they might get that over him. But, you know, bringing in Will Fries to compete with, you know, Danny Pinter, you know, Santevi, Julian Davenport, you know, the competition is great. You know, it is possible for him to start left tackle. You never know. Maybe that's Ballard's plan is to start him at left tackle. But you don't know. And we'll have to wait to see. We really don't know. But I'm excited to see what Chris Ballard's plan is. You know, a lot of people are really mad with the draft, and you know, like I get that left tackle was a huge need, but at the same time, you know, you can't reach for a guy. If you reach for the guy that's not right for you, yes, I get Christian Darrisaw is there. Maybe he's not a reach, but he's not the Ballard guy, and Ballard didn't want him. If Ballard thought that he was going to come in and make the bigger difference than Kwity Paye and then draft Doyle in the second round, but Dale being there in the second round, second round wasn't a guarantee, you know, he would have drafted Christian Darrisaw. But, you know, Kwity Paye dropping in a lap of Ballard, that was his goal all along. You know, Kwity Paye, he has an amazing character, and that's what a Chris Ballard guy does. You know, he's great character, and he plays hard every single down. I think we're getting pretty stacked. Yeah, we are. We really are, but we still have work. Don't get that mixed up. We still definitely have some work to do, you know. We definitely have some work to do at cornerback for the future. Right now, the cornerback group is pretty good. You know, you got our star Kenny Moore in the slot. We resigned Xavier Rhodes. We resigned TJ Carey. We have Rocky Sin, who you know, people are back and forth on him, but give him one more year. If he shows out, maybe he shows out and he shows that he can be a really solid guy. You know, I'm really excited. Really excited. We just got to see how everything pans out. We have good tackle depth. Yeah, we do. We do in Santevi, Julian Davenport, but will both of them make the roster? I highly doubt it. I don't think they're going to make the roster. Or I think one of those two is going to make the roster and the other's going to get cut. But we will see. We will see. No, yeah, but yeah, back to the cornerback thing. And then we have Marvell Tell coming back. We have Isaiah Rodgers, you know, who showed some promise. He did show some promise on the Bills game. You know, he he was on Stephon Diggs a few times, and he covered him pretty well. Granted, there were flags on both of the plays, and all the plays I think he was covering them, but he showed he stayed on him and he played through the play, which is, it's, and Isaiah Rodgers is really fast. He could blaze with everyone. He could run with anyone. So yeah, we do definitely need to start looking at the future for the cornerback. Xavier Rhodes isn't getting any younger. I know I said we just look at the future, but I would be 100% down to draft or to sign Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman can come in, and help these young guys, and Rock Ya-Sin, Marvell Tell, maybe even give Kenny Moore a few pointers or two. Sherman isn't a slot guy; he doesn't know, but maybe he could help Kenny Moore with maybe some technique. You never know, but bringing a guy like that with some fire in his eyes, some people think that he was a distraction. He was more of a distraction than helping his team, but he really wasn't. He just has a fire in his eye, and he just loves the game, and he plays hard every single down. He just really loves the game. There's a difference in being a distraction to really loving the game and being really passionate. There's a difference, and you got to realize that line. I think Richard Sherman would be an awesome guy to take and plug in, and maybe give a guy like Rock Ya-Sin, maybe give a fire in his eye, because that's what Rock Ya-Sin needs. Right now, Rock Ya-Sin is not showing much. And you can tell his confidence is drained. His confidence is shot, And a guy like Richard Sherman can maybe rejuvenate him, maybe help him, maybe get started and get that fire that he needs. I think I said that one, but yeah, I do agree. Will Holden, Will Fries, right. I think, when Will Holden actually came in the Steelers game, I was actually impressed with him. He came in and he was a decent guy that came in for us. He came in and he held up versus a very talented Steelers defensive line, but the tight ends and chipping him with the tight ends and stuff did definitely help him, and that was smart, and you got to do that stuff to help, the weaknesses on the team. You got to take the weaknesses and, improve them a little bit, no matter how you got to do it. If you got to help the left tackle with the chip, do it. Maybe he has that plan for Will Holden. You never know. Right. We did sign Chris Reed. We do have Danny Pinter. I don't think he's going to be a tackle, but we have some really good offensive line depth now. Yeah, I think we need one more corner. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. We are young, maybe a little too young, and then you have the guy, and Xavier Rhodes, who is definitely aging, that we definitely need to start looking in the future for corner. I don't really know who's out there in free agency for corner, but maybe Ballard sees a guy and he picks him up and he springs off and he really shows something. The only parts of the draft we might have missed are corner and tackle. Yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. A lot of people wanted a corner. When they drafted Sam Ellenger, some people were saying that they should have drafted corner depth or something, which I agree with. I agree, but at the same time, bring a guy in. Don't reach for anyone. It was towards the end of the draft, so maybe you could look for some undrafted guys instead. You never really know what the plan is for Chris Ballard. So trust the process is what you got to believe. You got to believe in Ballard, because Ballard has proven so many people wrong. People day in and day out complain about him. There were so many people that said, the biggest need was edge over tackle. And then he'd complain about it. And the funny thing is, those are usually the people that were complaining that the edge wasn't good enough. Well, you're complaining about the edge, and now he drafts edge, and now you complain about it. Make up your mind. Ballard knows what he's doing, and he proves those people wrong every single year. Jamarcus Webb has to go. Yes, I agree. And Chaz Green, yeah, please give rid of Chaz Green, please. Him and Raven Clark, good lord, man, no, I'm not doing that with those two again. Raven Clark was absolutely terrible. I heard people say Wentz is mad about Sam. No, I don't agree. Yeah, you know what? I can't say I don't agree, but because other people say it, but I don't think it's a problem. I don't think Wentz is taking it personally. It's just people that are, it's the media, it's the Colts media at their finest, trying to get this through Carson Wentz's head, or trying to get through people's heads, that Sam Ellenger is really going to come in and play over Wentz when we gave up a conditional second and a third for Carson Wentz. Heck no. He's coming in to make competition, to create competition with Jacob Peterson. He's not coming in. No way he's coming in to start over Wentz. No way. No way. And plus you really think Frank Reich is going to start Ellenger over Wentz? I don't see it. I mean, I don't. That's no diss on Ellenger. He's going to come in and compete with Jacob Peterson, but, I think he could be a solid backup. But we already invested in a quarterback in Carson Wentz, and we have to continue to build on him. Yeah, but the Colts media is terrible, bro. My hair looks bad, but oh well. Oh yeah, what do you think of the new camera, the new setup? Looks a little better, don't it? I do have to get another microphone though. That's what I have to work on next. But he's like only QB3. Yeah, maybe he does end up being QB3, and maybe he ends up staying on the practice squad. Maybe that happens. But I think he's gonna come in and compete with Easton for the number 3 or for the number 2 spot. Awesome background. Appreciate it. I just got a Colts blanket and just nailed it up there. And then my Colts clock is broke now because I dropped it. But oh well. It's better, I have the LEDs. It looks so much better with this camera as well. It looks so much better. Ooh, wrong color. But okay. I would have maybe taken a corner and said, yeah, I don't blame you. Because, a lot of people already think that Easton is that backup guy, and there's no reason to draft another guy. It'd probably be better off just signing an undrafted guy to compete with Easton, not spending capital. But, at this point in the draft, what are you going to find? You never really know. Maybe Carson Wentz, I'm not saying I want this to happen, but maybe he wins out the job, Carson Wentz gets hurt or something, and he comes in and he balls out. Just a situation, you never really know. So, he's a guy that's going to come in and compete for the backup job. Like I said, never say never in the NFL. Never say never. When, so many times where things happen and you just can't explain it. Like Texans, they're just something, they're a whole mess right now, and that's a thing you can't even start explaining because, they don't know themselves what they're doing. That franchise is a wreck. I don't usually hate on franchises. I don't usually try to hate on teams, but dude, what are they doing? They have their star in Deshaun Watson, and they keep on aggravating him. They want to keep him, but then they go and draft a QB. And they don't draft him any help whatsoever, do they? No, they don't. And they didn't even have a first and second round pick. They didn't because of the Tytus Howard trade. And I think they also got someone else. I think Kenny Stills, they got him too. Man, the Texans are wrecked. I like Davis Mills coming out. I really like Davis Mills. He's probably that mid-round quarterback that's going to come out and probably be really good. I can really see Davis Mills being really good. He's a smart quarterback coming from Stanford. I could see him being good, but I don't get the Texans. I don't get them. They want to, if they actually trade him, where do you guys honestly think Deshaun Watson's going to go right now? Because all those QB needy teams, they got their needs. Not many of those teams are going to give up much now. The Jets, they got Zach Wilson. You look at the Washington football team. Did they get someone? I think they did. I don't remember who. Actually, the Washington football team would be a team that would be interested. One team. But if you look at, a lot of teams that needed quarterbacks, they addressed it. The Bears, they traded up. The Jaguars, they weren't going to trade him to a division rival. They weren't going to trade him to us, and we got Carson Wentz. Maybe the Dolphins are in, but then you go to the Panthers, they're probably not interested now because they got, Sam Darnold. That's not a diss on Sam Darnold, but man, I really feel like the Panthers gave up too much for Sam Darnold. I really do. But yeah, back to that with the cornerback. Yeah, I see. I wouldn't have mind getting a cornerback in that situation. Anything in that situation for, in those later rounds, you don't really bring anyone to come in and start. You bring them to come in and be a solid depth piece, but you never know. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with that quarterback situation, who's going to be the backup next year. And then you go to the corner. Yeah, we definitely do have some solid guys in there, but they're so young and unknown to the point where you don't know. You just don't know, and you can't be. And sometimes, yeah, you have to be patient, and you have to realize that players aren't going to come in right away and be amazing. Sometimes players need time, but at the same time, you also can't be scared to get better. I feel like that's one of the hard parts in the NFL. It's really difficult to know when to stay patient and keep developing a guy, or getting better at that position and just investing. That's a very hard thing to learn. But once you learn that a little more, it's never really something you're gonna learn. It's always gonna be something that comes up and it's gonna be difficult. Situations are always gonna be difficult. Unless you're a team like the Cardinals and you trade a second round pick and an old washed up running back for a wide receiver. Hey, thank you. You took the guy out of our division. We don't have to worry about him twice a year. But yeah, we are actually gonna have to worry about him this year because we are gonna have to play the Cardinals, which sucks. But thinking about it, we're gonna have a really tough schedule. We're gonna have a tough schedule because I think we're playing. Yeah, we're playing the whole NFC East or the AFC East. You got the Dolphins who are an up and coming young team. You have the Patriots who, good Lord, made so many signings, it's not even funny, and they got their guy Mac Jones who fell right into their lap. You have the Bills, who's definitely going to be a hard team to beat, but I hope we get a revenge. And then the Jets are a big improved team as well. The Jets signed some guys in Carl Lawson. They got a receiver, and then they drafted a stud in Elijah Moore that dropped to them in the second. They got their guy in Elijah Tucker at guard, who is going to be a really good guard. The 4 teams right there who are going to be very difficult to beat. And then you have the AFC South, which is not easy. Outside of the Texans are a complete joke and mess. But if you go to the Titans and the Jaguars are dark horses to win the division right now, and we can't let our guard down. The Jaguars are looking really good. And as a Colts fan, I'm going to tell you right now, don't be surprised if they get 10 wins, 10, 11 wins. Man, I know you might want to call me crazy, but if you look at the roster and you look at their draft, man, they really made some improvements on that offensive line. They drafted some offensive linemen, and that Walker Little and the project guy who maybe they plan to move him to guard. You really never know. But sheesh, the Jaguars twice a year versus Trevor Lawrence is not going to be easy. And then that offense is really good for Jacksonville. They have, one second. Okay. But the Texans, the Jaguars, that offense is going to be scary. They have Trevor Lawrence, who, if he comes in and really plays well right away, that team, that offense is going to be scary. They're going to have DJ Chark, who's a very underrated receiver in this league, in my opinion. You have Marvin Jones, who they got. They got a guy in not Elijah Moore, but they got Laviska Shenault. They have a lot of guys. They have James Robinson. I think they drafted a tight end, and I don't remember who, but I'm pretty sure they got a tight end. But they have some really solid pieces on that offense, and that offense is going to be scary. And then they have the guy, the 1,000-yard rusher and the rookie sensation, and James Robinson, who's going to be another guy that's going to be scary. He played pretty well against the Colts last year in the first game. He played pretty well against them. And then you go, the Titans. The Titans have made some additions as well. The Titans, they have Ryan Tannehill, who's a solid quarterback. You have Derrick Henry leading the way, best running back in the league. You're not going to change my mind about that. As a Colts fan, I love the dude. I love Derrick Henry. But dude is scary to play against. One of the teams, the only team in the league that could run down 21 points and come back and win is the Tennessee Titans. And those fans do get under your skin. Don't get me wrong, they get under your skin, but you do got to give the team the respect they deserve. You know, the defense, they made some signings in defense. They got Janoris Jenkins and Jack Rabbit. You know, they signed Bud Dupree. They signed Nico Autry, who's going to be motivated to come back at us when we play them twice a year. You know, and then you know, they got their guy in Jayon Brown. You know, and then but then if you go back to the offense, you know, and the defense, they do definitely have some holes. You know, some things that is going to make the job a little easier on the Colts, but at the same time, they still have Derrick Henry. You know, but they do need a receiver. They do need some receivers. You know, the Titans are going to be a threat, of course. As long as they have Derrick Henry, they're going to be a threat to win the division. And then, you know, don't sleep on the Jaguars. Please, don't let the Jaguars surprise us. Man, I'm telling you, if the Jaguars win this division, it's possible. It's possible. They definitely have the chance to. They definitely have the team to, because, you know, they signed quite a few guys in free agency. They signed Shaquille, whatever his last name, I forgot his last name, but Shaquille Griffin. You know, they have the guy in C.J. Henderson, that they drafted top 5 a few years ago, and you know, they have some solid linebackers and Myles Garrett. You know, they actually signed, you know, what's his name, Dylan Moses. He went undrafted. They signed him, which I think he could be a decent linebacker. You know, and they have really good cornerback duo, and then they have DJ Hayden and a few other guys competing for that third spot for that slot. The offensive line is underrated for the Jaguars. The defensive line, you know, they have Caleb Von Chaseon, who's a linebacker as well. You know, they have DJ Smoot, who is pretty decent. You know, that's a team we gotta watch out for. You know, and of course they have that what's his name? Josh Allen at defensive end. They drafted a few years ago pretty high. You know, this Jaguars team is gonna be scary. It's gonna be difficult to beat. They're not gonna be as easy as some people may think. You know, this Jaguars team has a lot of talent, and they're loaded. They're loaded on offense, especially. They are loaded. You know, and then we're gonna play the Ravens, which is not gonna get any easier. They drafted 2 really solid receivers, and Rashad Bateman and Tylan Wallace. You know, and then their offense line is decent. They still have work to do. You know, and then you look, you know, Lamar Jackson. He's probably one of the most stressful quarterbacks to play against. You know, he could take off at any moment, but he's still a decent passer. A lot of people crap on him because he's a terrible passer. He's not terrible. But he's like mediocre above average. You know, don't underestimate the Jaguars, and don't underestimate the Ravens that we're gonna play. You know, this is not an easy schedule. You know, because as we know, the Ravens have one of the best secondaries in the NFL. They did sign a safety undrafted free agent that I like. I don't remember his name, but he's a good safety they got from TCU. You know, and their linebackers are decent. They have Patrick Queen, but you know, outside of that, not too much. But you know, their defensive line is pretty solid. Calais Campbell. They don't have Unique Ngakoue, but you know, they still have some solid guys in that defensive line. That's scary. You know, and then you change your focus to the NFC side of things. We have the Buccaneers to play the last week, and we're going through the NFC West, which is one of the best divisions in the NFL, if not the best. You know, they have the Seahawks, and you know, the Seahawks is probably the worst team in that division. You know, even with Russell Wilson, you know, where's the defense? Where's the offensive line? They didn't get no offensive lineman, I don't think. You know, with their first pick in like the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, they got a receiver again. Like I wonder what actually ever happened with those Russell Wilson rumors. They got quiet real fast. I don't know what ever happened to them, but you know, that speculation was crazy. Russell Wilson wasn't happy because they weren't building the offensive line, and Russell Wilson doesn't want to continue to be hit over like 60, 70 times a year, 50 times a year. You know, the dude's getting older, and the older you get, the more injuries you're susceptible to. Man, and then, you know, their defense isn't the greatest. They definitely have a big hole on defense. They don't have much on defense at all. Outside of maybe Jamal Adams, Bobby Wagner. Outside of that, what do they have on defense? They don't have any D linemen. KJ Wright was a free agent. He went somewhere else. I don't remember where he went, but, I mean, you're going to have to watch with them, with Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner. They're no joke. But the offense is scary. You have DK Metcalf, a really good young receiver coming up. You have Kyle Lockett, who is a very underrated receiver. I don't think they have David Moore, but they do have that guy they drafted in the draft, which he is really decent. I don't remember his name, but I know he was a good pick. Um, besides what they needed, he's a solid talent. Um, of course, the guy in Russell Wilson, very, very good quarterback. And this is the worst team in the division. And they're extremely solid. And then you go to the Niners. They just drafted Trey Lance. And their offense line is solid. They re-signed Trent Williams. Now their receivers really don't scare me. I really think we could cover guys like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. I think those are guys that we can really keep under. We can keep them in check. But then if you go, the running backs are scary. The running backs are scary. They have really solid running backs and Mostert. I don't know if they still have McKinnon, but I think they drafted a guy as well. This 49ers team is scary, and then you have the defense, which is nowhere near the Super Bowl team, the Super Bowl defense that was a few years ago. Nowhere near it. Some people are still gonna say it's gonna be a really good defense. I don't know if it's gonna be that good. You really don't have much there anymore. They do have Jason Verrett, Jimmy Moore, Fred Warner. The defense line is really good. So, a still really solid defense, but not where it was in the Super Bowl defense, but it's still really solid. It's going to get the job done. And then you go to the Cardinals and the Rams, which doesn't get any easier. The Rams are going to be a top 5 team in the NFL next year, top 3. One of the best teams with Matthew Stafford. And then all the receivers are solid. All the receivers can get the job done. And then you have the quarterback and Matthew Stafford now, which is a big upgrade from Jared Goff. And their defense is really scary too. Aaron Donald, they have Aaron Donald, some really good cornerback group, decent safeties, decent linebackers. Their linebackers could actually get a little better, but man, and this team is scary. The Rams' offense line is actually aging and actually getting worse as we speak. I really don't like their offensive line that much anymore, but they do have 2 stud young running backs in Henderson, and then they have Cam Akers, however you want to say it, another young stud at running back, and then you have the Cardinals. Man, the Cardinals have made some big additions, and they had a pretty solid draft. They have their defense line is gonna be scary. Last year they were like number 3 in the whole NFL in sacks. In sacks on defense, they had like 40 some sacks. Chandler Jones was hurt half the year. Hassan Reddick had like 10 plus sacks. But I think Hassan Reddick actually went to the Panthers. But this Cardinals team is going to be scary too. J.J. Watt, they signed Malcolm Butler. They could get better at corner. Buda Baker is a beast. The linebackers are solid. This team's scary. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that, but that was, family member. But let's get back to what we were talking about. The Cardinals, I think, the Cardinals really solid team. And, I was talking about how the schedule is really tough. Really tough schedule. It's gonna be difficult. There's gonna be no easy games next year. Maybe for the Texans. Maybe for the Texans. That's probably 2 wins right there. To be quite honest with you, I'm not really that confident. Usually that confident in winning a game and guaranteeing it. It's any given Sunday, but at the same time, the Texans aren't really. I don't think they could compete with the Colts. I really don't think they're gonna compete with the Colts. I don't think they're gonna give the Colts a run for the money. But any given Sunday. But I think those are 2 wins right there probably. But yeah, so I don't really. What else is there to talk about right now? Are any of you guys still here? Any of you guys have any questions? I'm not sure if you guys are here. You probably left after I answered that call. My bad. But I'm probably gonna get off soon if no one's here. If no one answers, maybe I'll talk here for a little longer. What else is there to really talk about? Texans. Not really. I'm gonna do another stream hopefully next Monday. I'm talking about the Titans or maybe the Titans, Texans, or Jaguars. I'll really go through their roster a little bit. We'll talk about them. Maybe we'll talk about some free agents that are still on the board, or we'll figure something out to talk about. Maybe next stream I'll have you guys come on and we'll talk about football. We gotta figure something out. So probably gonna be it for this stream, but I appreciate everyone who was tuned in. I thank you guys for coming by and having a great time talking football with me. Can't wait for the next stream. I had an amazing time, and the support I've been getting on my channel lately. Just got a video that went over 1,000 views again within like one day, which was insane. Really appreciate the support, and I'm really, excited to see where this channel is going. I'm excited to really, expand my community and just have fun talking football with each other. That's my main goal. Just to make your guys' day better, to have fun talking about football, and have an awesome community that gets along, and that we just have fun talking about football. It's my main goal. So thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed, hit that subscribe, like button, and I'll catch you later.